Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, and welcome to the Money and More Network. This is your hostess, Wendy Cassera from Taxpectations, your all things taxes station, because as we know, all roads lead to taxes. You can find me on the internet, on all the social media sites. Well, not all of them. I keep saying that, but then I realize there's so many. I'm not on all of them. But Google me. There you go. Google it. I was reading a quote from Nikola Tesla this morning where he said in 1926 that we'd have all of the world in the palm of our hand that will fit just inside of our pocket. And here we are. We're to the age where you can communicate with anybody, anywhere in the world in moments. It's a wonderful thing. Anyhow, we are going to talk some tax stuff today, see what the IRS is up to, and many more things like that. We're also going to have our quote of the day, which is our next thing here. So let's get started with a quote. I found one from Robert Collier. He lived from 1885 to 1950. He was an author, and I thought it was really a kind of a cool quote. It says, "Visualize this thing that you want. See it, feel it, believe it. Make your mental blueprint and begin to build." I thought that was a really, really super cool one. But if you're going to talk about believing, though, Sonia Riccati, another author, said, "You manifest what you believe, not what you want." Kind of really super cool. One of the virtues of being very young is that you don't let the facts get in the way of your imagination. We should all use a little imagination, don't you think, in our daily lives, weekly lives, and as we move on and go on and on and on. As we're using our imagination, please keep in mind when you are listening to my radio show that all of my shows are archived and you can grab onto any of them and re-listen to them anytime, so that if you're driving down your car, driving down the road in your car, you're not driving your car, driving down your car. If you are listening to this on an iPad or somewhere where you don't have pencil and paper to take notes, you can always go back. We have lots of shows, past shows, that have some really great information, financial freedom, what you need to know about your finances, what are your goals, some bookkeeping tips, some budgeting tips, and lots of ways to save money. I had a lot of fun with the money organizing personality, and then, of course, organizing your money and back to budgeting. So there's lots of things we can do as we move into Money Monday that can help us on our way to success and our business. So a few things from the IRS. One of the things that it reminds us is that if you receive advance payments of the premium tax credit, if you had done that in 2014 and you expect to be able to do that in 2015 or 16, you need to make sure that your 2014 tax return is done as soon as possible, because they are going to make those eligibility determinations, and you have to have your tax return done in before that. And please, may I take a moment to once again urge you that if you filed an extension, the extension time is rapidly coming to a close. So it's a really, really good idea to get your tax stuff together and take it to your favorite tax accountant or tax preparer, someone like me, me. Anyhow, so you can get your taxes done in a timely manner, and there's not a really, really big rush. Unfortunately, one of the bad things that happen, and it's even worse than April 15th, if you're late getting to April 15th, you can file an extension, which is what a lot of you have done. But if you're late after the extension's gone, there's no other extension. So you're up for a lot of fines and fees and penalties and all those other things. And then you're, begging your tax preparer, can they please waive these fees? Or you're calling the IRS, and the IRS is going to say, "Listen, lady, you've had the same tax extension for the last, 400 years. I don't know how long it's been. It's been less than that, though. The tax season is April 15th with a 6-month deadline. And, speaking of that, I talked about it in my last show, just a quick reminder that tax return deadlines are changing next year. especially if you own a C corporation or a partnership. So if you need to know more about that, please listen to last week's radio show, because I went into depth about why that's happening and what that's going to entail. And as they make more changes, because those happy little people down at the IRS and in our government in general, because you have the Congress and the Senate and the House of Representatives and Obama and everybody else throwing in their 2 cents about what needs to be done, things change. Yes, they do. I did a show one time on it, and it was tax laws, only federal tax law changes, an average of 1.5 per day. That's a lot of tax law changes to keep up with, but you can keep up with it by listening to my show, because that's where I talk about tax law changes. And that's just, as I said, that's just federal. There are a lot of state tax law changes that occur, and though I follow some states, I am very cognizant of where the other state's information is to find out. If you should call me from anywhere in the United States, I can take care of you. So yes, if you're going to get some advance payments of the premium tax credit, you need to file your tax return right away. The other thing that came out from the IRS this week are new tricks by scam artists. IRS and tax losses by scam artists and the like are topping over $20 million. The Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration has received reports of roughly 600,000 contacts since October 2013. 600,000 contacts. They are aware of more than 4,000 victims who have collectively reported $20 million in financial losses as a result of tax scams. 4,000 people have actually paid those people who have called them or sent them a bogus email. There are a lot of aggressive tax scams. They're being very deceptive, fooling people. I mean, one of the biggest problems is the fact that so many people are scared by the term IRS that they, when someone says, I'm from the IRS, pay me money, they are so nervous about it that they do that. And you should always know that the IRS never will call you on the phone. You will occasionally get a call from a taxpayer advocate service if you requested their services, but you have to request their services, and we're going to talk about the taxpayer advocate's office in just a moment. However, scammers posing as the IRS issues will call you on the phone. Your caller ID will show you that it is from the IRS or another agency like the Department of Motor Vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. They use fake names, titles, and badge numbers, and they use these resources to get your name, address, and details about your life. They go so far as copying official IRS letterhead to use in emails. They provide their victims with directions to the nearest bank or business where the victim can obtain a means of payment such as a debit card. They are actually providing actual IRS addresses where the victim can mail a receipt for the payment, all in an attempt to make the scheme look official. They're really using your fear, trying to scare people into reacting immediately without thinking through what's actually happened. They use threats, police arrest, deportation, license revocation. They leave urgent callback requests, all kinds of different things stating that you owe money or that you're about to be sued or audited, or that the police are going to come and arrest you. They ask for specific payment methods like using a prepaid debit card. They ask for credit or debit card numbers over the phone. The IRS will never do any of that. So if you think you are a victim of this, the first thing you should do is call the IRS and see if you actually owe money and if it was the IRS that you heard from, or you can call the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, which is where they're keeping track of all these complaints, And if you go on the IRS website, it has the phone call. The biggest thing to do is call Wendy, call Taxpectations, call your tax professional if you have a different tax professional, which, you should just call me. And we can tell you what to do or walk you through what to do if you are a victim of this. But again, keep in mind, the IRS will never phone you or email you and tell you that you owe money and ask for money over the phone or any identifying information from you. So keep that in mind. Guard against tax scams because, well, they're just wrong. Let's see. Some more victims of Typhoon Sadalor began in August 1st, 2015, in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands can qualify for tax relief. I don't usually read those, but I really like to read that because I had no idea where that was. Didn't know there was that typhoon and didn't know where the Northern Mariana Islands are, but apparently they are in the United States. 10% off your next year's tax return for the first person who calls and tells me where those islands are. How's that? Get a little contest going on. Make some money. Save some money because we like to save money. So we do everything we can on a regular basis to save you and your business some money. So while I was talking about the tax scams, one of the other things I talked about was the Taxpayer Advocate Service, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it. The Taxpayer Advocate Service is a service of the corporation. It is, I believe it's privately funded. However, it is important to note that they do not work for the IRS. They work for you to make sure that the IRS does its job, and in some cases will work with you for your state issues as well. If you have done everything that you know of to contact the IRS and get an IRS or, again, state issue fixed, and you feel that it's not getting fixed in a timely manner or the fix didn't work the way that you want it to, and you want to get this fixed before going to tax court, the best place to call is the Taxpayer Advocate Service. I am really big with my clients. I work with them, and if we don't get the results we like, I contact them, connect them up with the Taxpayer Advocate Service, and kind of act as a third-party mediator, using all the jargon and the lingo so that I can get the correct answers from them and find out what they need from you in order to get the correct answers and get the resolution that you know about. It is your voice at the IRS. They are an independent organization. They help resolve problems. Their highest priority is if your problem is causing financial difficulty for you, your family, or your business. If you, your business, or your organization are facing an immediate threat of adverse action, or you have tried repeatedly to contact the IRS but no one has responded, or if the IRS has not responded on the date that is promised. Now, one of the things they're saying is if you're calling the IRS and you're getting no answer because of their lack of personnel, that is not an issue that the Taxpayer Advocate Service can help you with. When they say they're going to help you when the IRS has not responded, it's when you have actually spoken to someone or you've sent in a letter, fax, or otherwise and have gotten no response. That's what they mean by that. So don't call the Taxpayer Advocate's Office just because no one at the IRS answered the phones. And a little tip for all of you out there, I tell all of my clients who ask, if you are in real need to contact the IRS yourself, the best time to do that is first thing in the morning, as early as possible. Attempt to get ahead of the crowd. You're going to stand a better chance. Not to say that you're going to get through, because, as we talked about last week, very, very small percentage of people are actually getting their phone calls answered. So be wary of that. And again, they're looking at the taxpayers, not the advocate service, but the company that works with the IRS to make sure they're doing their job. They are working really hard and diligently to come up with ways that people can get answers to their tax questions and get tax help. that is not dependent upon the IRS, including the fact that they have put on their website people who are passing the IRS's new yearly exam, proving that they're keeping up on tax laws. And there's people on that list that will be able to represent you with the IRS. Yes, I am on that list. So that we can help you with your tax questions, and you might be able to stave off having to spend hours, whatever it is, the IRS hoping somebody will answer the call, because you never know. Anyways, back to the Taxpayer Advocate Service. Their main principle, their main job is to protect your rights and make sure that that you have had your basic Bill of Rights, Taxpayer Bill of Rights, kept for you. They understand what your rights are, they understand your problems, and they're really pretty good with what you need to do. And I find it easier as well. Taxpayer Advocate's Office has a form you can fill out and fax to them, and they'll assign you the proper agent that can help you. It really saves a lot of time if you do it that way. The Taxpayer Advocate Service also has a web toolkit that can help you to solve your tax problems, especially if it's a problem that affects a lot of taxpayers, because they probably already dealt with and can answer your questions that before you have to stand in line or go through an ardent process. The Taxpayer Advocate Service has offices in every state, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico. If you look at taxpayeradvocate.irs.gov, you'll find a listing on there. They are also on social media, at Facebook and Twitter, under Your Voice at IRS. So find them or find me and I will direct you to them. But they are the place to go if you're having any tax issues that you're having issues solving. As I stated, I guide a lot of my clients there, and they are just absolutely awesome. So I wanted to give you another tool to help you with your IRS and tax issues. One of the other things I wanted to bring up is, I talked about last week, they have a lot of summertime tax tips. And there was one in there about home sales, and I've run across it quite a bit lately because a lot of people I know are thinking about buying a home or selling a home, or what's going to happen here, there, and everywhere. And so I thought I would bring this one up as it is such an important topic. You may be able to, here's some facts about home sales. I'm not going to read all 10 of them, but you may be able to exclude part or all of the gain from the sale of your home. This rule applies if you meet the eligibility test, which involve your ownership and the use of your home. And you must have owned and used it as your main home for at least 2 out of the 5 years before the sale. So that's just one of the eligibilities about excluding some of the gain. There are other rules. Exceptions apply to persons with disabilities. There are some rules that include certain government employees, Peace Corps workers, members of the military, etc. The most gain that you can exclude from tax is $250,000 or $500,000 for joint returns. The net investment income tax will not apply to the excluded gain. If your gain is not taxable, you don't even need to report the sale to the IRS on your tax return. You must report the sale on your tax return if you cannot exclude all of the gain. You must also report the sale if you choose not to claim the exclusion. But, who would do that? I guess there are people out there who would. But who would do that? If you decide that you don't want to take the exclusion. You will get, if you get a 1099-S, proceeds from real estate transaction, you need to file a tax return even if you are going to exclude the gain from the sale of your house, simply because that report goes to the IRS and it does not show whether or not you lived in it the last 2 years, and it doesn't show whether or not you qualify for the exclusions, and the IRS gets that report. So it's really important that if you get that, if you get the 1099-S, that you do file a tax return. And also, only your main home qualifies for the exclusion of the gain. If you claim the first-time home buyer credit when you bought your house, the special rules apply to that sale. But here you go. Now, see, this is one of the things that it bugs me. It's my show. I can talk about things that I want. This is one of the things about the IRS that bugs me, though. If you sell your main home at a loss, you can't deduct the loss on your tax return. What kind of blankety blank bleep 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 is that? I mean, really, people, you have to report the gain, but you can't report the loss. They don't let you take any deduction for a tax loss on the home that you sold at a loss, at your main home, if you're taking that, So, however, though, keep in mind that there are other, especially, the rules that we talked about and the exclusions. There's always exceptions. Also, if your home is an investment home, then things proceed a little bit differently than that. So there's lots of different things that you should know. So we talked a little bit today about some of the things going on with the IRS and all their happy laws, rules, and things you should know. I had been pulling up a lot of different articles and stuff for some ideas for some new shows, and I jump back to the tax one because I get a lot of those kind of questions. It's what I do. But I thought that some of the shows following us, number one, I want to start getting some guest speakers in here to give you some more information, and I've met up and talked with a couple, so it's going to be really awesome. Also, some more tips on success and some more things on how you can save money. Yes, I'm really, really fluent with how you can save money on your taxes because that's an important part, but also how you can save money on your day-to-day life and other means of success. I saw an article I've talked before in my previous shows, about the Succeed as Your Own Boss blog post. And I'm telling you, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, that is definitely someplace that you need to go. SucceedAsYourOwnBoss.com. This woman is absolutely phenomenal. I just love listening to her, reading the stuff that she has. If you're on Twitter a lot, she has a Twitter show that she does once a week. She's a small business lady. And one of the articles she posted this week was how to find out where your customers are online and lots of other things. So I thought we'd talk about some of those things next week and go forward and conquer into the world of money and more, success and taxes, because all roads lead to taxes. So that is where we will be, on the road to taxes. If you have any questions or if you'd ever like to schedule a free consultation, please give me a call or send me an email, Wendy@Taxpectations.com. You can find me on the internet. Google me. You'll find my phone number. You'll find my email address and my website. And give me a call. Let's go over what's going on in your tax world and see if we need to do a strategy session with that, or if you are in need of some flat rate, low-cost bookkeeping services. Give me a call and we'll talk about it. In the meantime, I hope that you all have an absolutely fabulous and wonderful day, and see you on the flip side, same time next week. Have a really, really great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.